Greetings, everyone. This is Rocco Swalking at you with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup, and we'll be covering this week's miscellaneous Marvel books. Now we got a couple of the Marvel mystical books, a street level book, and a cosmic book, and an alternate reality book. Let's get started with Morbius, the Living Vampire, number 4. Where we left off, Morbius had struck a deal with Spider-Man. They would utilize it, and with some... Basically, Spider-Man agreed to let Morbius use samples of his blood in an attempt to find a cure for his condition. However, a woman named Elizabeth is hunting him, and the Melter is not exactly... While the Melter has kind of backed off of Morbius, he's still a variable in the equation. The issue opens with Elizabeth standing over Morbius and narrating that there was a boy she once knew who was both sweet and strong, gentle and resolute. The boy saw endless possibilities where others saw nothing. Every moment was another chance for adventure, discovery, wonder. The boy's name was Michael, and the monster he became killed him. So we get some flashbacks to Michael's childhood with Elizabeth, who was the sister of his best friend Elam, showing them all growing up together, and eventually with Elizabeth admitting her romantic feelings for him, and Michael shooting her down, but saying, "Hey, look, just because I'm not, if I'm not in love with you doesn't mean I don't love you. I'll always be there for you." And of course, Spider-Man is like, "Hey, look, he's trying to do the right thing here." Well, Elizabeth thinks that the right thing is for him to just, die. However, her assaults on Morbius are making him worse and worse. However, the first serum that Morbius utilized was made with the help of Elam. Or not Elam, Emil. Sadly, the transformation to a living vampire led to Emil's death at Morbius's hands. And so the fight continues, and Morbius further mutates, while Elizabeth reflects more on her past, her training, joining the military, learning about the creatures that go bump in the night. The first time she ever killed a vampire, when she's attacked by Morbius. And he has a moment of clarity to say, "Okay, fine, you know what, just do it. Kill me." And she fires an arrow into his chest. This is the heart, though. And he rises with full-blown wings, which, not digging the wings. And seemingly begin looks to be about to chow down on Elizabeth. Back in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, Melter's using a bunch of the lab equipment that he stole from Morbius' old lab. Turns out money isn't everything in it anymore. After all, he's got leukemia. And it turns out that the treatments that he was prescribed, they all they served to do was piss his leukemia off. So he got inspired seeing all the super science running around in New York, running around making people bigger, better, more. So he figures, why not fix my own damn problem? He got good grades in chemistry. He can rustle up the materials. So he has made some sort of serum and kidnapped a bunch of unwilling test subjects. One of whom he promptly injects with the serum, and it turns into this were-rat creature. Which is apparently along the lines of what Melter was hoping for, I guess. Kind of a weird thing to hope for, but, you know, hey, I mean, if you can control them, I guess, you know, whatever. And that's where the issue ends. Moving on to Spirits of Ghost Rider, Mother of Demons. So, quick rundown of who Lilith is. This particular Lilith is a long-standing Ghost Rider demon. I'm fairly certain that her earliest appearances were in the beginnings of the Dan Ketch, first Dan Ketch Ghost Rider series, which would be the second Ghost Rider title. Third counting what the character who was eventually retconned as Phantom Rider, but not the point. The second Ghost Rider title to feature a supernatural hero who rode around on a flaming motorcycle with his head being a flaming skull. Lilith, it was revealed, is the mother of all demons. And she was a constant thorn in the side of Ghost Rider and the Midnight Suns. In fact, there were at least 3 stories I remember from the 90s that all dealt with at least Ghost Rider and Blaze going up against Lilith and her kin, and her children, the Lilin. Rise of the Midnight Suns, which saw the Midnight Suns coming together. Oh God, I can't remember the second story, but it was really just Blaze and Ghost Rider. And then finally, Siege of Darkness, wherein Lilith teamed with the demon Zarathos, who had been the one bonded to Johnny Blaze's soul. And, well, yeah. Anyway, Zarathos was not the most trustworthy ally, and yeah. Lilith and her brood were defeated well before Zarathos was. And lately, she's been a bit of a thorn in the side of Johnny Blaze during his new duties as King of Hell. So we begin in the beginning. Eden, the garden thereof. Lilith was there at the start, on her first body then, when God sought to create a paradise on earth, to expand his domain. And so, those in hell, however, decided that, yeah, sorry, Big G, you don't get to, do that without the influence of hell being there. And Lilith bore Adam, the first man's children that would one day run the world. However, the one above all does not like the competition. And so angels slew the brethren of Adam and Lilith and banished her from Eden back to hell. The one above all then paired Adam with a more suitable and more malleable partner. However, Mephisto and Lilith have an affinity for the malleable. Mephisto was the snake who convinced Eve to eat the apple, after all. And it seems as though Lilith was a goat present at the same time. As time progressed, Mephisto took more interest in humans, twisting their words against them and setting them free to sort through their own anguish and grief. And eventually, Johnny Blaze and Doctor Strange managed to capture Mephisto on Earth, trap him there even. And let's kind of figure maybe that's exactly what he wanted. Let someone else take over. And someone did. Johnny Blaze. Lilith tried to, convince him to, work with her, kind of, hey, as long as he's alive, the loyalists are going to be all for him. But if you were to, kill him, well, yeah, Blaze like, yeah, no, shut up. And so a deal was struck between Lilith and Belasco of Limbo. And so Jack-o'-lantern clawed his way up into the bowels of hell, and Lilith, having aged a bit, sent him back up. It was like, hey, you got to do a thing for me, okay? When you get to go back to Earth, you get to be alive again. However, shortly thereafter, she explains what she gets out of the whole thing is she gets hell. And so her body dies and births a new one. New body for a new era. And through the various rebellions, daily almost, time moves differently in hell. Johnny's not sure how long it's been on Earth, but yeah. He sends all of them down to the bowels, the bottom rungs. He's only been as far down as the 8th level, but he hears whispers of hundreds more, maybe even thousands. And they then claw their way back up, and, well, yeah. But he pronounces that Blaze pronounces that Mephisto will never sit on the throne of hell again, as it is his. And he is the king of hell. Back in Brooklyn, now, Danny Ketch returns from his own meeting with Belasco in Limbo, where he became the spirit of corruption as opposed to the spirit of vengeance. Which was exactly what Caretaker, intended. He basically, he leaves rather pissed because he doesn't like being used, and hey, who does? Goes to a liquor store, buys a cheap bottle of whiskey, and opens it before he even leaves the store, and runs into Jack-o'-lantern. Turns out, Jack-o'-lantern's actually a little pissed off that there were apparently 3 other guys running around wearing his clothes using his name while he was dead. And so, but yeah. Danny's not interested in dealing with Ghost Rider. Or Jack-o'-lantern. So Jack-o'-lantern blows up the liquor store. Smacks around Danny a little bit. and brings out the spirit of corruption. Upon doing so, well, Jack says, "Hey, okay, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You're not Gosher. You're something worse. I don't want any part of this. I'm gonna leave now." Lilith, she's the one that sent me back up here, wanted me to kill you. You warned me. I should listen. So I'm gonna go. Yeah. And he hacks up Jack Lantern a little bit. Looks like basically sends him back to hell. There's also a very neat little nod to the events of Inferno during Lilith's talk with Belasco, which was a nice touch. That's where the issue ends. To be picked up in a couple weeks in Ghost Rider number 5. Moving on to Jessica Jones Blind Spot number 3. Where we left off, well, first off, we've got two separate stories going on. We've got the Jessica Jones story that's happening now, where she's apparently been kidnapped and redressed in an old Miss Marvel costume and is being monologued to by an unseen villain. But before that, Jessica Jones discovered a dead body in her office one day. Doing some digging, turns out there were and shortly after that, Jessica got shot in the head and survived. The bullet was nothing magical, but there was something magical about, her. Some kind of magic around her that protected her. Come to find out, there were 3 others who've been killed in the last week or so. White Rabbit, Skane, and also Bloodstone. So, Jessica starts asking around, finds also Bloodstone's place, and goes to check it out. Only to be knocked on her ass by none other than Elsa fucking Bloodstone. So we start off with Jessica talking with her would-be captor. Flashback to Monday, 8:41 p.m., Midtown Manhattan, the last known address of Elsa Bloodstone. And well, it turns out the two of them actually rather like each other. And maybe there's something more to this whole surviving getting shot in the head thing than just being, badass bitches. So turns out, though, that, Elsa's got a job to do. Sea monsters in the Hudson River. And she tells Jessica, hey, you can either come with me and help, or you can wait and talk to me when I come back. She opts to help. Also gives Jessica an axe, and apparently Jessica's really good at killing monsters too. And throwing axes. But it turns out that Dia, the young lady whose dead body Jessica found in her office, also a former client of Jessica's years and years ago, went to Elsa. And asked, claiming to be a monster, and said, well, basically kind of hoping that Elsa would mercy kill her, as, she felt herself, as she thought she was a monster. Well, Elsa kills monsters. However, Elsa didn't. And then comes the news that, well, he is dead. So she starts So are White Rabbit and Skane. And so, next place that Jessica goes is the Menagerie, White Rabbit's club. As talks to the bouncer, shows a picture of Dia, looks familiar, and well, the bouncer doesn't really recognize Dia, but when the boyfriend is brought up, the boyfriend he remembers. White Rabbit had the bouncer throw him out. So she goes and talks. She goes inside, talks to the bartender, gets some information, and bartender says, "Yeah, he definitely would not have, the jackass boyfriend. Yeah, he tried to hit on White Rabbit, but he wouldn't have been one to come back and kill White Rabbit or Skane." So she starts doing some digging, and she does manage to potentially find a lead. However, as she's printing it out, Misty Knight shows up at her door, and well, Justin says she's not sharing this info with Misty, and she's not waiting to follow up the lead. So he hops in her car and heads to the last address she could link Dia and her boyfriend Jared to. Breaks in thanks to super strength. Sees a picture of Dia and Jared, and, well, at least she's in the right place. She sees someone in the door. Creeps on in, and oh, it's Dia. And that's where the issue ends. Moving on to Nebula, #1. So, for those only familiar with Nebula from Guardians of the Galaxy, the basic version of Nebula is that she was by and large raised by Thanos, generally referred to quite often as being his daughter. Same with Gamora. And in fact, for quite some time, the presumption was that she was actually his daughter, but apparently not the case. She hasn't had that that change of heart that movie Nebula does. And last we saw her, as Guardians of the Galaxy smacked her around some and stole an army of dead gods from her. Or at least the ability to summon an army of dead gods. We begin at the Ional space station. Nebula kills some guys, kills some people, grabs a little girl, and takes her to her father, a brilliant scientist. Apparently the scientist has made a machine that can basically predict the future. It's called the All-Seer. And she also understands, and the guy says, "I'll destroy the plans before you can access them." Says, "Well, yeah. Here's the thing. I know you types. You think about, is it possible? Should I do this?" So yeah, it's already been built, and she wants the doctor to integrate it into her cybernetics. Or she's going to kill the scientist's daughter. Apparently, the little girl's been injected with nanites. And that's what will probably, kill her. And so it gets installed. However, it was never meant to be integrated into a biological system, so there's a little more data than Nebula can process. And however, someone else has shown up, a man by the name of Devos. He's there to take out the professor. Because making something that can basically predict the future, not the best thing for the balance of the galaxy. And it's a probability thing. The way it works is that you input your goal. It analyzes you input your goal and it analyzes the various variables and predicts the best course of action. And yeah, Devos, when Nebula tells Devos that she had the All-Seer put in her cybernetics, even he's just like that's absolutely insane. Why would you do that? And she goes through the various scenarios. Or we see scenario 1 where Devos dodges a shot from her. Scenario 34 where he dodges a close attack and shoots her in the face. Scenario 292 where they shoot each other and he takes a shot to the leg, she takes a shot to the chest. She figures, well, we'll just try everything all at once. That actually works. And also but the amount of data is too much for her to handle, and so yeah. And then part of the roof falls on him, though, and so at least there's that. She makes her way out, steals a ship, which gets fired on, and she promptly crashes in the planet below. She's found by an inhabitant of the planet who asks Nebula her name, and well, Nebula doesn't remember. And that is where the issue ends. Next up, we've got Marvel's X #2. We left off at Marvel's X #1. David, after the rest of the world went through Terrigenesis, David, the last non-powered boy on Earth, left his largely abandoned family home in Ohio for New York. Along the way, he was picked up by a trucker named John. We start off with David thinking about Spider-Man and what he likes most about Spider-Man. The fact that he can't be squashed. No matter how much gets piled on him, he can take it. He's stronger than it all. Nothing gets him down. And David's fairly certain that him and Spider-Man would have... He's fairly certain that Spider-Man was a friend. A friend to, people. So they approach New York. Apparently, David's been sleeping. John turns off the headlights of his truck. And they go into the tunnel linking Jersey and New York. Explains there are some of those that are mutated. And so Johnny, however, explains that okay, sure, they've set the truck on fire. Well, they don't know anything about fire. Turns out he's none other than Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider. However, Ghost Rider's appearance scares David off and he runs. And so Johnny basically just says aloud to Ears, As a kid, doesn't appear to have any powers. He needed help. So David puts back on his disguise, a Green Goblin mask, and starts going, walking through New York, trying to, find the heroes. He accidentally bumps into Aaron Stack, and is terrified when he sees Stack's eyes from underneath, you know, his robotic eyes. He hides from that under a water tower. He's fairly certain he's being followed. Next day, he finds a grocery store, which is being robbed by a bunch of looters. However, Spider-Man shows up and saves the day. And so he swings around. Spider-Man asks David to take the Green Goblin mask off, and then they swing around to where Peter and his daughter May are staying. A safe house set up by none other than Nick Fury. Though it's not confirmed to be Nick Fury, but he does say. But Spider-Man does start to say Nicholas, but then he says, I mean, a friend at S.H.I.E.L.D. Then Daredevil shows up. Apparently Daredevil was the one that Johnny Blaze was talking to. And Daredevil and Spidey chat about what's going on. And we're starting to already see the man that Peter Parker became in Earth X. But it turns out that something was after the boy. Something's after the boy. Daredevil fought it the previous night. And it's out there. And it wants to devour him. But why? And it turns out that the reason that Daredevil picked Spider-Man to be the one to help David is that of all of them, Spider-Man is the most human. And he explains that they're not just saving the universe, they're saving the things that make life worth living. They're fighting for the things worth dying for in each of us. And that's where the issue ends. And that's it for the miscellaneous Marvel books of the week. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the search box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.